from Cleveland's most accurate weather team. This is 19 First Alert Plus, sponsored by the man that makes them pay, Tim Misney.
And good morning, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. It goes without saying that Northeast Ohio got smacked last night. There is damage all over the area from the west side to the east side, especially along the lakeshore, Parma, Garfield Heights, some of the hardest hits. Parma Heights getting hit extremely hard yesterday. Now is the recovery, and the unfortunate part of this is the hundreds of thousands of people who are without power. We can check out the live interactive map from FirstEnergy. They actually have some really incredible technology that they use when it comes to power outages. This map, you can see if you look in the upper left-hand corner, 336,000 customers without power. And let's be clear about what that number is. That is not just 336,000 people without power. That is a customer. So if you have a home with 6 people in it, you can see that that number grows when we start talking about how many people are without power specifically. Let's take a look at the Cleveland area. 50,000 customers or homes and businesses without power. We can look at Lakewood, 19,000, almost 20,000 there. When we get into that Parma area, where according to our meteorologist Kelly Dobeck, there was a confirmed tornado in Parma last night. You can see they are dealing with 24,554 without power. And the question that everybody has, if you're watching this, perhaps on your cellular phone or your phone and watching us on Facebook or digital property, is when is that power going to come back on? And we know that there is an incredible amount of work that goes into getting that done. We're going to welcome in Hannah Catlett. You may recognize Hannah. She used to be with us here at Channel 19. She is now in communications. She's the spokesperson for FirstEnergy. Hannah, thanks for joining us. I know you folks are busy. How are you today?
Yeah, it is going to be a busy couple days, Dan, and it was a long night, obviously, for our crews.
Let's walk through that number, 336,000 in the greater Cleveland area without power here. I've been in the market almost 20 years now. That is one of the highest numbers that I have ever seen. At its peak, what was your highest number? And historically speaking, what does that say for Northeast Ohio?
Yeah, at the height of the storm, we had about 470,000 people that were impacted. That is a huge number, as you said. Now, some of those were because of damages to transmission lines, and those lines serve tens of thousands of customers. So when we're able to get those back in service, that's when you'll see those huge jumps of customers come back online, because it's the lines that we're working on first are the ones that will impact the most people. And as you said, there's about 330,000 out right now. That means that we've gotten more than 100,000 people back on, but obviously that's a huge number still to repair today.
And fortunately, we are dealing with much cooler temperatures, which we'll get into a little bit later with Jeff Tanchek. But everybody wants their power back on. Refrigerators are about to spoil, freezers are losing. This is going to be a lengthy process. What are some of the estimates? And obviously, we're not going to get into specific neighborhoods, but on a storm like this, what are we talking? 2 days, 3 days, a week? Could it be that long?
We, on our storm call this morning, are preparing for, multiple days. I don't know exactly how many, but 3, 4 days of calls in the morning to discuss where crews are going, and getting a large majority of these customers back on is going to take multiple days just because of the extent of the damage. You saw the damage in your own footage there, and the footage from customers. It just, so many trees came down on lines. There's hazards right now out in the field with our crews. There's detours that they have to take to get where they need to go. And there's even still branches, limbs hanging up in trees that, are loose. And so our crews have to take that extra time to be safe while they're out there working to restore power today.
And of course, everybody wants their power now. You talked a little bit earlier about how it works, and whether it's seniority or priority, whatever the word is, it's whatever fix can get the most people back online is what comes first. But some of these little neighborhoods that are tucked in and they've got trees on lines, a lot of that has to be cleared before anything can be done.
Yeah, and that's why we encourage people to report their outages, Dan, because we get all that little information. And even if your neighbor has already reported, we want you to report so that when we're in your neighborhood, we're fixing all of the things that we can while we're there, instead of going out there, fixing something, and then not knowing that maybe your power was out and you have to report it, and then we have to come back out. So if you can encourage people to report their outages on our website or by phone, there's multiple ways to do it listed, but that is really helpful to us, and it helps speed the restoration because we can go to an area, take care of it all, and get people back online.
One last question for you. We've seen in the past that crews are able to come in from out of state. The unfortunate part, I think, is going to be that there's also this tropical storm that's hitting the East Coast. Is that taking away some of our power crews? Are all of FirstEnergy crews in Ohio right now? Where are we at with that? How many crews are there?
So the good news is that not all of FirstEnergy's territory was impacted. As you know, we operate in 5 states, so the other areas that were not as heavily impacted, even some of Ohio Edison, they are for the breakdown, it's about 300,000 customers out within the illuminating company, and then 30,000 within Ohio Edison. So even as we get the Ohio Edison territory cleaned up, we'll have some of those crews. So the illuminating company is where all of the majority of those damages are, and other FirstEnergy crews will be able to come in and help us because areas weren't hit as hard. But then this morning there was a lot of discussion about tree contractors, about other contracted line workers coming in from Michigan, Indiana, places that we use for mutual aid, and those are all in the works. We've requested hundreds of crews to come help us.
And we're definitely going to need it. Again, this was one of the bigger storms I can think in my 20 years that has really impacted so many. Normally, we get severe weather, it hits one community or one or two side-by-side communities. Really just everybody got smacked yesterday. Hannah Catlett with FirstEnergy, it's good to see you again and on the other side of the camera for us today. Thanks for your help and good luck to FirstEnergy. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think, Dan, the one thing we want people to really be aware of right now is to stay away from any downed lines. There are so many of them. And as people are getting out there today, I know they're really impressive, but even if you're taking pictures, just stay far away from those lines because some of them may still be live and dangerous.
Yeah, you can't just assume that because they're not smoking, because they're not arcing, you can't assume that that line is dead. And you never know when that line is going to come back online. Once a repair is made in one part of a community, they turn on that line, so you just never know. Hannah Catlett, thanks for joining us today. We certainly appreciate it. All right, let's move on now to our weather discussion. We're going to bring in 19 First Alert meteorologist Jeff Tanchek. Jeff, put into perspective for us just how bad yesterday was. Like I said, I've been here 20 years. This was bad, man. This really hit with vengeance.
Yeah, the only kind of off the top of my head, the only thing in recent memory that, as far as power loss is concerned, that I could think of is Superstorm or Hurricane Sandy. That was right around Halloween, 2012,
right,
2012. Right. I'm sure you remember that, but there was, I don't know the number, but we had hundreds of thousands of customers without power with that storm. And then, of course, in 2003, you had the big Northeast blackout that happened, which of course wasn't weather related.